Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name's Ty. Hope all you've been doing amazing and treating yourselves well and enjoying yourselves as much as possible. I know it's been a while since I've been podcasting, and it's because I've been following the very words that I speak to you. I've been enjoying my life as much as possible and just moving with the things that inspire me. You know, it's like there's certain times in our lives that something just feels really inspiring to do, like go in a certain direction, apply for a certain job, or, you know, just go on a certain trip to some place. You know, it's like something inspires us, or maybe it's just like I'm inspired to go for a walk or go for a drive or call this person, and we move on that inspiration. It's something that's pleasant because that inspiration, it's something that feels good. And when we move towards that, when we move with that, we're reassuring ourselves that it's okay to move towards inspiration, and we can start moving towards those bigger and bigger inspiring ideas that maybe seem too fearful in the moment or in the past because they just seem too big. You know, we have big inspirations, we have passions that we want to move towards, and they seem so far away. And we may feel as though if we move towards smaller inspirations or do smaller things that are enjoyable towards us, that it's more frivolous activities, is something that's not really going to help us achieve that goal. But in reality, moving towards those small enjoyments in our lives, those things that inspire us, like, yeah, I want to go to the movies, and it doesn't matter if I have anyone to go with. I want to go to this nice restaurant. I want to go to this place. I want to, you know, talk to this person. We feel this strong inspiration to do that because it feels good to do that. And as we allow ourselves to move in that direction of inspiration, those bigger inspiring ideas will start to come into our minds more often. New things adding to that big business idea is going to be added because we're just in the flow of moving towards our inspiration. And now that big idea, that big inspiring goal isn't something that's so intimidating anymore because we've done these other things that have moved us to feel good moving towards those inspirations. So moving towards this bigger thing is not something that has more cons than pros in our opinions, because we now feel as though we're ready to move towards it in a meaningful way. So anyway, all that's to say that I've been following my inspirations more, and it has really allowed me more opportunity to think about the things that I want to do, the other, you know, inspiring ideas that have come to me in various ways, and how to move towards those. So that's kind of what I've been going into, and something I really wanted to speak about today. It's not about inspiring ideas or anything like that, but it's about just allowing ourselves to tune into the experiences that we want to have, and allowing ourselves to line up with that by tuning ourselves into that, and into that vibration, into that energy, into that flow of what that is. Just as that inspiring idea, as you follow these small inspirations, you're getting in the flow of inspiration. You're starting to feel what it feels like to be inspired, and see the result of that inspired action, which may just be a more of a smile or enjoyable meal or speaking to a good friend or something like that, just like a pleasant experience. We find more and more that we're in the flow of that alignment as we practice it. So as you start to practice various aspects of your life, you'll start to realize that they shift and they change. This entire life changes in various ways, and we always wonder how it changes and how it shifts, and how some people seem to gravitate all the abundance and joy and happiness and things that seem so out of reach towards other people. But in reality, these are just people who have recognized something that they are passionate about, something that they're inspired by, and they follow the flow of inspiration by practicing the flow of inspiration despite anything else that comes up. It's almost as if we're on a journey towards a destination, and we get halfway to that destination and our car breaks down. It doesn't matter if we have to walk the rest of the way. It may seem like it's a longer journey, but as long as we keep on moving in that direction, we will get to that destination. And more than likely, there are others that are driving in that same direction to that destination. You may be able to get a ride. You may be able to find that there are other opportunities along that way as you walk. We look at the fact that maybe your car breaks down in the middle of a journey as being something that's so terrible, something that's causing so much pain and frustration, and you can focus on that pain and frustration. Or You can say, you know what, this situation, it's maybe allowing me the opportunity to say, am I really dedicated to looking at this wholeheartedly, this inspiration that I want to move towards? Am I going to allow this one thing to stop me from getting to my destination? In the moment that we allow ourselves to look in the other direction of that pain and that sadness, or the frustration of that situation, as we look in the opposite direction of that and allow ourselves to focus on that, that's what gets us out of that broken down car and start to take the first step in the direction that we want to go towards. So many of us stay in that broken car, just frustrated that it's broken down, saying, this is just the way that life is. This is just the way that it has to be. But the moment that you feel inspired to go in the opposite direction, to say, you know what, I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm not going to let this get in my way of achieving the things that I want to achieve. Then you take that step out of that car. And that's the first step on any journey. And even if you take a few steps and you say, okay, I'm hot, I'm tired, my feet hurt, you already know that you've allowed yourself to take that step to move towards your destination, even in the face of adversity. And if you're tired, your back hurts, your feet hurt, and you still don't let that stop you, then there will be opportunities along the way that aid you along your journey. And it may not seem like it's something reasonable to believe that there will be support on the journeys that we go on in life, but it's just about allowing ourselves to go forth anyway, even if we aren't assured that there is any support on that path. It's about moving towards the things that feel good for us and allowing that to be the reason that we're moving in that direction in the first place. And as we allow ourselves to focus on that, let that be what we practice. That is us tuning ourselves into that flow, into that vibration. And this can happen in all avenues of our lives. Wherever we feel that we want our life to be, wherever we feel that is, let that be your destination. Mark that as your destination and keep your eyes on that destination. Don't shift focus. Don't allow the car breaking down or some tree falling in the road to stop you from moving towards your destination. And obviously the car breaking down and the tree in the road, these are just metaphors for the experiences in life that we go through. The things that feel like there's something blocking us, whether that's financial constraint, familial constraints, location, background, history, whatever that is. There's so many things that seem like walls and trees and broken down cars that are keeping us from the destinations that we want to get to. But it's in focusing on the fact that if I just take another step towards this destination, then I'll be closer to it. If I just keep the belief, the knowing that I will get there, then it will happen, because it has to happen. And I know it may seem like when the car breaks down and then after a mile of walking you see a tree blocking in the road, and then after getting around that tree there's a wall in the middle of the road, and you see all these obstacles time after time. I promise you, I assure you, that with your focus and your intention on getting the goal, being at where you want to be, then you will get there. And there are various levels of this inspiration, of this motion towards the things that you want to believe. There are many thoughts and beliefs that come up when you break down in that car, when you come across that tree, when you come across that wall. There are other beliefs that are coming in, not only your determination to reach that goal, but saying, oh, I'm at this tree now, my car just broke down. I can't believe this series of incidences is happening. I can't believe this misfortune has happened to me time and time again. That's a belief that we're holding on to. The car breaking down, and now we're saying this misfortune is following us. Now a tree breaking down. I bet there's going to be some other obstacle along the way. And then here comes the wall. Allow yourself to change that belief as well. Just because I've had 3 obstacles in my way doesn't mean that the rest of this journey is going to be hard. Maybe that was the hardest part. I don't know what's coming up next. I don't know what's further down this road, because it's true, we don't know what's further down the road. And we can't use the past experiences as the only truth for how we're going to move forward. Otherwise, we would have stopped at the broken down car. I really hope these metaphors are following and translating through. I feel like they are clean and clear enough, but I want it to be just known that there are many layers to the experiences that we have in this life as we're going towards the things that we want to achieve. And it's important to always remind yourself that on top of the other beliefs that I may have fully accomplished, or as far as feeling certain and I'm certain I'll reach my goal, now that I've changed my beliefs about these obstacles in my past, I feel really secure in that. I feel like, my past does not dictate the steps that I take forward or the path that I'll experience for moving forward. But there are other beliefs as well. There are beliefs, oh, I'm going so far. I'm going towards this destination, but my family is back at the other place. I'm going towards this destination, but I have people in my life that are telling me it's the wrong decision. And it is kind of a long journey, so maybe they're right. These are other beliefs that are coming in. These are other levels of that experience, and these are all things that are going to show up in one way or another in our life. A broken down car, a tree in the road, a wall in the middle of the road. There are going to be so many things that come up. Again, like financial hardship, maybe you lose a job. Maybe you have a family member that passes. Maybe you lose your home in some kind of terrible incident. There are so many things that will come up in your experience, but again, they're just raising the awareness of the fact that there are other things within you that you're holding on to. They'll bring up new things that maybe are deep down within that you haven't really resolved. Maybe the belief that this external circumstance, these things that seem to show up in my life, they can impact my happiness. And I know that when my happiness is impacted, the steps forward are impacted as well. I feel like I get stuck when I start to criticize myself, when I start to doubt myself. And those feelings of doubt and criticism come up when these experiences come up in my life, when I see these experiences, when these experiences play out. So now we feel that we're stuck on that road again, and we're stopped again at some kind of halt, some kind of crater in the road. How will we get past this? But again, recognize, I know that I'll reach this goal. I know that the past experiences that I've had, they don't dictate my future. And now there's this belief that these external circumstances, these things, this job, this lost family member, these things that seem like such hardships in my life, they can keep me from joy and happiness in my life. And I know that joy and happiness and inspiration and motivation, these are the things that drive me down this road towards the destination that I want to get to. So I know that I want happiness above anything else. But these situations in my life, they're so hard to get over. They're so hard to get through. And something with these challenging situations in our lives, we have to remember that it's okay to have an experience that feels bad. There are many experiences that we had, and you lose a family member, you lose a loved one. There's no point in that journey of your life that you have to say, yeah, I'm glad they're dead. It's like that's unreasonable to even believe. Allow yourself to feel the pain of the situation, but just like any situation, as we move through time, as we allow ourselves more and more joy in our lives by choosing it in any moment that we can, the pain, the hurt, it starts to diminish, it starts to fade. And now, of course, there may be times when it comes back up and it seems very strong. But instead of crying every single day for weeks, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's just on their birthday, on their anniversary. There are times when we start to realize that the scars have healed and we can still see it. We can still touch it. There may still be some tenderness there. But in the end, we know that we can still move forward. And knowing that that loved one that we may have lost is still with us and wanting us to move forward with our happiness. Knowing that these circumstances around us, these hardships that seem to come into our lives, they don't come because they want to put us down. They come because they allow us an ability to be stronger, to be more determined towards happiness, be more determined towards wanting to live the life that we want to live. Having faith that, I went through this really tough situation, and somehow, it's been 3 years and now it's on the day that it happened, and somehow I'm sharing laughter with loved ones. Somehow the tears aren't flowing as hard as they were. Somehow I've come out of that situation, and my life is something that's thriving. I've met someone that's really amazing. I'm doing really well in my life. And as we remind ourselves of those times that has happened in our lives, I know it's happened even in your life. As you listen to this, there have been situations in which you may not have felt, how do I get out of this? How do I feel like I'll be able to get out of this? I feel so down. I feel so lost. I feel so confused. I don't know how I'll get through this. And then time has passed. Situations have changed. You've allowed yourself some laughter, whether it's by an accident, by a friend finding their way to laughter within you, or some other kind of circumstance that just allows you to focus on something else, something that feels a little bit better. And you find yourself, however much time later, realizing how far you've come, how much you've changed, how much you've grown from the situation. And know that these are the experiences as we grow from them, as we allow and know that the experience is going to allow us to grow. Any hardship, any experience that you come across in that road, that car breaking down, the tree in the road, the wall in the road, everything leading up to that moment when you come across that crater has led you to a new understanding, a new self. And that new self is what's going to get you through that crater. It's not the same self that was at that broken down car. That self has always been within you. It's always been within you. The epitome of what you see yourself as in your life, doesn't matter where you are in your life. Whatever you imagine the ideal for yourself, you are already that. It is within you. And the only thing it has to do is come out, but it has to come out through all these layers. Just like a seed planted in the ground, it has to come through layers and layers of dirt in order to reach the sunlight, in order to really bloom to be exactly as it is. You already have that potential within you. You just have to allow yourself to learn and grow from the experiences that come into your life. I did take a step out of that broken down car because I told myself that nothing is going to stop me from this goal. Then a tree came and it blocked my path. I didn't know how to get across it. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt stuck. I felt lost. I felt confused. I felt like maybe I made a bad choice. But I told myself, you know what? I told myself at the broken down car that I'm not going to let anything stop me from the goals that I want to achieve. So I climb over this tree, and guess what? Now I recognize I have strength. I am strong. I am able. I can do this. And when you come across that wall and it seems like it's an impasse, it feels like I cannot get through it. I cannot get around it. I cannot get over it. What am I going to do? I'm reminded that that goal is still there. That destination is still there. And I am strong, and I will continue to move towards this despite whatever I feel is coming in my way. And as I start to attempt to break down that wall, it crumbles because it was just the intimidation of the wall that made me feel like I couldn't get across it. But knowing my strength, knowing that I will achieve this goal, this wall is nothing. And the walls will start to crumble before you as you move forward in this path, as you move forward knowing that you will achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And know that it's not always a straight path. Allow yourself to have fun and enjoy life, and it may seem like it's a frivolous side endeavor. It may seem like it's something that's completely off base towards the business ideas and the things that you want to do in your life, but in reality, what we want in this life is joy and happiness and peace. Allow yourself that in your life, and all the other things will be provided. There will be circumstances and situations that come into your life that allow you to live an incredible life. And guess what? You'll be happy along the way. And in your happiness, in your happy life, there may be other things that come up. Maybe a little patch of thorns that seem to be blocking the road, but it seems like, so small compared to what you've been through already. I've gone through a crater. I've broken down a wall. I've gone over a massive tree in my path. These thorns in the road, these mean nothing to me. These obstacles will seem to appear in your life. And of course, you can stop at those thorns and just revert back to the beginning when you were in that broken down car and say, I don't know how I can do this. I don't know how I can move forward through this. But you'll find very quickly that you cannot stay in that reverted state because you've already gone through too much. You've already taught yourself that you are bigger than that you are more than that obstacle will not stop you and it cannot stop you. Allow yourself to feel the emotion that you feel, but realize that doesn't feel good. I've said time and time again, our feelings are our guideposts. Allow yourself to move towards the things that feel good. And when there's something that does not feel good, feel it, as long as you need to feel it. But when you realize that the tears have dried up and I just don't want to cry anymore, I just don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want to feel the sadness anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to just find the things that are joyous to me, things that bring me even the smallest amount of happiness, or even things that allow me to get some of this frustration out. Maybe I want to go to one of those places and just break a bunch of stuff. Or maybe I want to go to a mountaintop and just scream. Maybe go to a boxing rink and just like punch a punching bag over and over and over again. There are a lot of things that feel better than deep depression that doesn't involve just being happiness and sunshine and rainbows. The motion that we make towards this path, this goal that we want to reach, maybe the goal is just happiness. Maybe it's just a goal of just feeling okay throughout my day, throughout my week. These are incredible goals to make. And the journey along the way may seem arduous, but allow yourself to hold true towards that, knowing that it is possible for you to have that. Because it's in our inability to believe that we can have that keeps us in that broken down car. It keeps us from even taking a step out. And there are many times that we take a step out and we feel as though this was a bad decision and we go back in the car. It's not to discourage ourselves. Remind yourself that I at least got to step out. But then allow yourself to, again, move in a way that feels just a little bit better. And it doesn't mean immediately going towards happiness. Maybe it takes going to anger, then to frustration, then to aggravation. And you can do a lot with aggravation. People are aggravating all the time. Like, there are a lot of people who are aggravating, just people aggravating people. So you can do a lot with aggravation, because those aggravating people may just be aggravated at work because it's an aggravating environment. So then they go home or they go out with their friends and they seem like a completely different person. They seem just a little bit more bright, a little more happy, a little more like their soul is back in their body after being in that job. There's so many ways in which, aggravation, there's a lot more flexibility in that than depression. Because, deep depression it is something that seems like it is never ending. It seems like there's no way out of it. And oftentimes anger is something that's suppressed in our society. They say, don't be angry. But in truth, there are so many things that bring us down in this world that anger naturally needs to be part of that progression towards happiness. And it may seem like anger is the lowest of it, but it's not. Because after anger, there is the helplessness, the hopelessness that comes along with depression. At least with anger, you feel as you want revenge. You want to do something about it. And that is activity, that is motion. That is life. And you're moving more towards coming back into life, saying that, yes, I'm angry, I want to punch somebody. Okay, yes, now I'm frustrated about the way that this world is being run, the way that politics are being run. I'm frustrated and I feel like there's something that has to be done. This motion towards our happiness or discontentment, it has to come through these layers. It has to come through these different layers of emotion. So allow yourself through that. Set whatever goal you want, whatever destination you want, and know that there may be challenges along the way, but keep in mind that these challenges, they are to allow you to recognize in your face, in your experience, something that has been keeping you from the very thing that you want to achieve. And ask yourself, in comparison to this destination, is staying where I'm at a better choice? And that is the question that we have to ask ourselves time and time again. And it's not something to rush ourselves. It's not something to judge ourselves about. It's just to ask ourselves honestly, is where I'm at right now better than that destination that I have my goals on? Maybe it's just time for me to start believing more that that's possible. Because for a long time, I haven't believed that that's possible for me to even achieve that. And I haven't even wanted to look at that destination because it feels so far away. It feels like I'm just going to get my hopes up. These are the beliefs that we can start shifting right now. Maybe it is possible. Maybe it's possible. That feels a little bit better than saying I will achieve it. Allow yourself to move through the layers of it until you feel a little bit better about it, until that belief starts to shift enough for you to take the step out of the car and start taking a step forward. So that's all I really had for this. I really hope that the metaphor, it was kind of just winging it with the metaphor. So I hope that it was kind of coming through clear. Again, I speak these podcasts, they come from inspiration as well. And, actually in the beginning of this, when I picked up the microphone, I was going to speak about something different, and it kind of just went on this path, and I felt that I just had to keep going towards what the message was that this was. And really, I think it's an important message of really allowing ourselves the conviction of knowing that we can achieve our goals, whatever they may be, whether that's goals of emotional happiness, physical stability in some kind of way, or relationships, whatever that goal is. And we can have many goals and many destinations that we're moving towards at the same time. But we have to allow ourselves the ability to know that despite what comes up on this path, on this journey towards those things, despite what comes up, allow yourself to grow from the experience and keep your eye on the prize, so to speak. Keep your eye on the destination. And know with that first belief that I can achieve this. It's possible for me to achieve this. That belief, hold on to it, because that is what will continue to move you towards that goal, towards that destination. You have to believe it's possible first. So believe it's possible, and then start moving towards it. And every obstacle that seems to come up in your way, know that it is something that has been dying to be let go of. It's been something that's really keeping you from really being at that destination fully as you are, fully as you want to be in that place. There are many of us who want so many things in our lives, but we have crippling anxiety and depression. And imagine having that crippling anxiety, depression, and immediately being thrusted into that new life. The contrast would be so dramatic that you won't even feel comfortable in your new life. And there are many people who feel as though maybe they would be, but you would have to really recognize that there are so many differences in the ideal personality that you feel you want for yourself, and the personality that has been shaped by the world, the one that has been beaten down and judged and criticized and made to believe things that were not true about themselves. There are many things that have to be let go of, many things that you want to be let go of when you step into that life of your dreams, when you step into that moment of happiness in your life, when you step into that complete and full and beautiful relationship. Allow yourself to let these things go, and these things will come up in the form of these obstacles. And these obstacles may be things that you're seeing in the world, things miles and miles away from you. But if you feel as though you're being impacted by it, allow yourself to feel that and recognize this is one of those obstacles. Is this telling me that maybe is this going to allow me to be strong? Is this going to allow me to be wiser in some kind of way? and know that it is. And allow yourself to move through it in a way that feels best for you, but always reminding yourself that you will come out of it stronger. You'll come out of it more in alignment with who you really are. So yeah, that's all we had for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group, @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page, @everysunpodcast as well. And that's all I got. Love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.